September 12th, 1997, 3:18:21 p.m. The Gun Devil strikes humanity for 12 seconds after 13 years. In the first 7 seconds, the recorded casualties already amount to an impressive number of 920, for an average of 131 dead per minute. 2 every second. Lots of numbers to digest, but behind them are people. There is a convenient tendency followed by modern journalism of summarizing the lives lost in a conflict in mere digits. Of course, it's all justified by the immediacy information generally has to be conveyed with, but that's not all. In fact, the constant coverage of critical and surreal events by media not only spreads awareness, but also apathy. Bombarded on a daily basis by the terms war, violence, terrorism appearing on the TV or on newspapers, the world, and particularly that part not directly impacted by said events, has ultimately acquired those concepts as normal. It has grown used to the consumption of such information, inevitably becoming, even if in a minuscule part, numb, gradually desensitized, allowing the victims to be represented as mere figures. Perhaps, treating and reducing people to numbers helps put distance from the painful and full picture of a phenomenon. It helps to dehumanize death. Especially war has become an expression of ordinary use, no longer comprehensible in its original absurdity. There has been, in short, a disturbing process of normalization of death, the one caused by man. And this is where Fujimoto comes in, by re-establishing that broken bond between humanity and death, by repersonifying the loss of life during the Gun Devil's attack. He doesn't provide numbers, he instead lists all the names of those killed. It's still symbols, however, they are no more numeric, but alphabetical, allowing more empathy to be felt by the audience, something that digits just cannot allow. So I borrowed the numbers 1, 0, 100,000 from a similar title of an important Italian novel written by Luigi Pirandello in 1925. Basically, according to the author, everyone possesses one, none, and, at the same time, 100,000 identities. Eventually, caught in this vicious cycle of wearing and swapping masks for each social context, everybody loses themselves, their uniqueness, and, for the purpose of this video, their humanity. They end up being just one among many others, one-dimensional beings, just like numbers. That said, although the topic is clearly different here, I think what Fujimoto does with chapters 75 and 76 from Chainsaw Man is fight and win the battle of rehumanizing the dead in particular, and not any dead, but those victims of a conflict. And this is the reason why I chose those numbers, as a critique of what society would have done in Fujimoto's place. That is, it would have covered the tragedy in different terms, approximating lives to figures like 1 or even 100,000. But without knowing more in depth about these casualties, stopping at only knowing their amount, they may as well be described as 0. The manga instead goes the extra mile. It's a work of fiction, of course, but it decides to restore the dead's dignity by naming each and every single one of them. Numbers are anonymous, but names are naturally not. It's still only names. We don't know exactly who Yano Masaki or Abe Kei were, but we know they are dead now, and so are their families. Anyone's name could have been written there. We are at least given a more heartfelt portrayal of reality, which, on the other hand, results also more disturbing, because more authentic, real. Fujimoto's narration of the tragedy, or should I say, report, is extremely cold, ferociously objective, because at the end of the day, despite letting us know a bit more about them, this is still a carnage, with its statistics, directed with radical fidelity. The juxtaposition of the names of the dead on top of the scene is intentionally disturbing, dark, macabre, but this is reality. What this necrology shows more than anything is the reality of death, that of unfortunate civilians, considered by some mere extras, background actors, And these pages will only keep bleeding out more. But humanity is to blame for this much death, so sudden, violent, and unfair. After all, the gun devil is deeply human. This monster looks, it's painful to admit, majestic, glorious, spectacular, trapped in its open chest, ready to welcome and devour even more, is an orchestra of countless human heads. They are screaming, crying, some are furious, others confused, lost. Some have given up, some are still fighting, maybe, or surely, among themselves too. This creature, this calamity, more than any other, is humanity's son, and this is the true horror.